Cheese just said. He's just sent me a message. I should be there in 10.
Green light. Give it all you can.
It's going to cut it fine.
Yeah, I just sent him a message. Well, here we are, guys. We're at the famous track, Imola, in Italy, for round 9, final round of a very long season. And I'd like to welcome Jamie on board. G'day, Jamie. How you going?
Good, thanks, Ads. Thanks for having me back.
Glad to have you after last fortnight. I think the effort that we came up with together, mate, it's a good combination. So definitely it's a bit like going to a concert of Beauty and the Beast. So me being the Beast.
It was great fun, and looking forward to finishing the season off in style here. I'm sure the boys have put on a great show, and championships are on the line, so I'm sure they'll be getting those cars in, sending it, and trying to keep the concentration.
Yeah, look, couldn't agree more. This is going to be an exciting race. It's a long race. This race, for the guys that don't know, guys and girls, this is an endurance race. It's topping off a long season, so it's been nothing but perfect for these guys, and some really close battles at front too. So genuinely excited. I've got a feeling that there could be some spills and little bits and pieces like that, mate, but as you know yourself, the sausage curbs here can be quite nasty.
Absolutely. They're quite large at some areas, not as prevalent as Laguna Seca, where you really couldn't avoid them, but here, you know, if you're precise, you can really take a bit of advantage of them, but in some cars it's going to be easier than others.
Yeah, and don't I know it as well. Just going to jump on board with, can't see who that is actually. Who's 216 in the P&L Bentley?
246, cheese and noodles.
Is it? Excellent, cheese and noodles, here we go. Just going to, so cheese is obviously just going from the practice. It's done some pretty hot laps, and then certainly got the quickest time of the group so far. So far we've got a total of 12 drivers. Just waiting on Stu as well, is running a little bit late. So Stu's a contender for finishing in a high position. Quality driver as well with Team BHR. And another Bentley, of course.
He's obviously spent a couple of races up in the Pro-Am division and performed really well, but back into AM1, and yeah, I think he'll be looking to be at the pointy end.
So Jamie, just for the guys that don't know, if we've got any new viewers that are going to tune in during the race now and for afterwards as well. So Jamie is also known as River Runs, who races in the Pro League. And congratulations, mate, finishing second last week. Absolutely just a fantastic effort from yourself. And the battle that you and Vic had towards the end there was just amazing to watch. So congratulations to both of you guys.
Thanks, mate. And yeah, obviously it's a long, intense season when you're battling with Vic, but he absolutely deserves it. You know, he's been the quickest, the most consistent, and whilst they're running close, he's just had that little edge, and showed at Imola last week as well. He probably had a couple of attempts on me, and you know, even with an alternate strategy, he managed to hold me off and thoroughly deserved that win. So good on you, Vic, and we have some more championships to decide tonight to join him.
Yeah, thank you for that. So as you can see, Cheese has just done a quick lap, so a quick time, 1:42.8, so let's put him at the top of the timetables, and I have no doubts that some of these guys will be absolutely hunting him down. So it's really, this is his third lap now. He's just gone off a little bit, but really it's the second and third lap, probably the third lap more so, depending on how you've got your brake duct set up, is probably when your tyres have settle down a little bit to the correct temperatures. Would that be correct?
Typically, yeah, and with a 15-minute qualifying, it normally gets you 2 lots of three laps. So ultimately, you have about 6 goes, but yeah, you really want to be avoiding invalidated laps because having a delta to consistently build upon on each of those laps as your tyres get up to temperature is really important.
Yeah, fantastic. Hey, we've just had a latecomer, so Stu's just jumped into the server. He's just going out on track now, I think, so he would be pretty keen to get out there and do some hot laps. What we're going to try and do as well is we're actually going to try and jump in with Stu. Give us a little bit of a... Yep. Just give us a couple of seconds, guys. We're just going to try and arrange this now. This is something that we haven't done before ourselves for this server, so we generally try not to upset too much in the way of how all this works, but actually, whilst he's out on track, he's probably not going to be able to accept it. So we might just stick with Stu just a little bit later. If he goes in the pits, I reckon he might jump on, hopefully, which will be good.
We'll keep an eye on that. In the meantime, though, Minardi has gone half a second off Cheese Noodle's time, so he's the closest challenger. And Shamrock, who podium place getter from Laguna Seca, is currently in 3rd.
So tell me, the battle tonight, what are we looking for in terms of teams and cars, Jamie?
Obviously, as we said, the team's championship's still up for grabs, and it's super close for first, particularly between P&L and our own Bruce Hale Racing. So there's 5 points in it at the moment, as per the legendary bounties masterful tables. So 1,276 is P&L. Bruce Hale is 1,271, so 5 points behind. We've got Gamesman Racing, they're 115 behind on 1,161. Selby Acoustics, 1,148. And Ignition Controls, 976, so a bit of a way off there. But really between P&L and BHR.
Yeah, and what's amazing is the fact that we've had 9 rounds, and to literally have that small a gap between the 2 top teams just goes to show how close the actual competition is.
And every position matters. Obviously, the way the points is structured with 20 to 1 down the placings in each server, so every place that you can get, if you have a spin and you don't put your head down, you don't let yourself get down and you just keep going and get that extra place when someone else has an off, that 1 point or those couple of points could be crucial.
So basically what you're saying, that there's a fair bit to play for tonight. Are we assuming that it's like a bull out of a gate, or is there a strategy here with regards to pit stops and managing tyres and fuel and that sort of thing?
With it being the Enduro, I think all of the cars will need to factor in some sort of fuel and or tyre management. What we saw in the pro race last week, there were a couple of drivers who decided to stick with the same tyres over the 90 minutes, and a few went the change option, so that could be car dependent, driving style dependent, and obviously with the fuel as well, trying to get out of traffic, splash and dashes and that sort of thing when you deploy those could be crucial.
Well, I'll tell you what, mate, it's definitely getting tight at the top. So between Inter, Stewart and Pat and Minardi and Psycho, top 6, literally 6/10. It's just crazy.
That's fantastic, and hopefully that will mean a great battle in the race. Interesting though, we see Fubble and Shamrock 1 and 2 at Laguna Seca, a bit off the pace here at the moment, so maybe they just haven't managed to get some clean laps in. We'll see what they can do.
I saw Shamrock went around before, just coming up from Tosa into Piratella. And it is one of these tracks, you've only just got to get it wrong a little bit. And, you know, it's so easy just to muck a lap up, so... And look, the guys at the top right now, the positions are just changing. I have no doubts that Cheese Noodles is sitting there, probably not too comfortable. But just looking at his on-track driving skill set, you know, good lines, nice and deep into the corners, late entry, and as we know with the Bentleys, he just rides those curbs like they're not even there. Unfortunately,
well at the moment.
Yeah, sorry mate, coming over the top of you there.
That's right. And I was just watching Stu. He did manage to improve on his last lap, but I don't think it was enough for a position. And he's just hit one of the sausage curves at turn 1 Tamburello, so he'll go again. Looks like he's staying out.
So did the sausage curve actually upset his car?
Yeah, and he pushed him off onto the outside into the gravel. So even if you're in a Bentley or another car that can take the curbs a bit easier, there still needs some precision in terms of handling them. If you take them the wrong way, it will end up in the gravel or the wall. Some cars have a bit more leeway than others. The Bentley is one, but yeah, you still need to be careful.
Yeah, that's something that I was thinking about last week, actually, driving the Porsche around here. I could not touch the curbing whatsoever, just at the risk of throwing the car up into space. But, you know, I look at these guys and they're riding the curbs, and it just makes me wonder, are they riding it comfortably thinking that everything's going to be okay, or is there the chance that they're going to be thrown? And I guess that's a risk that they're willing to take. So, you know what, at the end of the day, mate, if it works, run with it.
That's right, and with quite a few Bentley drivers here in the lobby, I'm sure that we will see strong representation in the top few spots from them.
Just we've got 2 minutes and 30 seconds left of qualifying. So far, position 1, Cheese Noodles, minute 42.5. That might even be one of his PBs, I think, after chatting with him this afternoon. Minardi Berger there with a 0.2 behind him, so close. Inter in 3rd position, Stu in 4th, Pat 5th, Psycho in 6th position, Fubble Trouble in 7th, Andy from BHR Racing in position 8, Big Les Gaming in the big BMW there, position 9, Shamrock 10, and I you know, even though Shamrock's probably down the field a little bit at this stage, I just feel like you know, he's going to come up through the field. He's shown that in the last few rounds anyway. Hammer in position 11, Team Little Bear position 12, and Dazza in the Ferrari in position 13. So it's so far a couple of guys still out on track there at the top. So Minardi and Cheese are still going around, Shu, Pat. So there's still the opportunity. So Minardi's warming his tyres up. Looks like he's going to try and do a last lap dash. Oh, I'd love to see this thing at a night time, mate. I'm just looking at the Mercedes AMG with the pipes on the side. I think that thing would just be glowing.
And Minardi's certainly got it working at the moment. Just a few tenths behind Cheese. Is he going to improve here? Not quite. So we've had Fubble. He's finished up and in the garage, and as you're saying, along with Shamrock, they will be starting from a bit lower down the grid than perhaps they were hoping. Definitely what they had in Laguna Seca. Shamrock is, and
he's pulled out.
If my understanding of the points table is correct, is leading the AM points.
Who's that, sorry, Jamie?
Shamrock.
Yep. Yeah, so he'll be keen to get back up there, won't he?
So it's only Pat, Stewart and Cheese out on track at the moment. Cheese is about to come over the line.
Yep, see if he improves his time, gets a little bit more breathing room. And he has too.
He does.
Well done. Well done, Cheese.
Great lap.
Ty Morgo will be very, very proud of how that's all come about.
But Stu is up by 4/10.
Really?
And he's coming into Aqua Minerale at the moment.
I'm just jumped on board with Stu. Yep.
So
he's on a hot one.
For a good one here, yep.
Just got to get the Delta correct. It's got a little bit of oversteer.
Now he's just thinking the last two corners, be precise, get it perfect, throws it into Ravazza 1.
It's dropped a little bit of time, but he's still in for improvement, that's for sure.
Yeah, so yeah, you didn't quite get the exit out of Ravazza 2 there, and you can see you carried that penalty all the way down the straight.
Position 2, well done. Well, that's a good effort by the guys. So Cheese Noodles, right now, be sitting there thinking, you bloody beauty. I know that Cheese has got his family watching tonight, so big shout out to Cheese's family, to his nan and pop. We just need him to bring home the bacon now, guys, so I'm sure that you're all cheering for him at home. Stu, position 2, so awesome effort, came in late to the qualifying, and just, 300ths of a second off of Cheese there. And Minardi Berger in position 3 in the Mercedes AMG. Really, really good effort, and the times are tight. They really, look, at the end of the day, this is a long race. There's a lot to play for, and from what we know from last week too, mate, that the temperature drops, yeah?
It does quite a lot, so how you tackle your pressures at the start of the race and the end, and if you're taking that tyre change into consideration, when do you want to get the maximum from the tyres? When do you want to have it in that window? Is it at the start, in the middle, or at the end? It'd be interesting to see what they do.
Vic Chan's just jumped on. G'day Vic, how are you, buddy? Congratulations for your win last week. I just spoke to Jamie about that before. Amazing effort and absolutely fantastic for winning the championship in the Pro League, mate. So big thumbs up to you, and especially for your team. I'm sure that they'd be pretty excited that that's occurred. So we've got a minute 54, or a minute 50 to go before the race starts. So I just want to do a shout out to, if I can as well, Jamie, to Fubble Trouble. So the other week when I jumped on board with Fubble, I commented on his steering wheel looking like it was net coating, I suppose. It was all over the place, and you indicated that he was on a hand controller. So after that race, and I was genuinely excited, the fact that Fubble was even using a controller with this particular game, because I don't reckon it's something that I could do. He actually reached out to me post the race and let us all know that that Fubble is in an electric wheelchair and can only use a hand controller. And just 21-year-old fella. He did say his mum gets a little bit thinks that he takes it too serious, but I'll tell you what, Fubble Trouble's mum, he does a bloody good job, and it's awesome to have him as part of our group. So I was quite taken aback by that when he reached out. So good on you, mate, and keep doing what you're doing. I know that you love it, and look forward to you having a good race tonight. So
yeah, great of him to share that, and obviously that speaks well of the community that we're in, that he felt comfortable to do that, and everyone's gotten around him, and it doesn't matter how you do it if you enjoy it. That's the main thing, and it's great that he's managed to get it working for him, and he's successful. So Looking forward to seeing how he goes tonight.
10 seconds.
Yeah, yep. Couldn't agree more. Yeah. Alrighty, just about race start. I'm just on board with Cheese at the moment, so I'm stuck in this position until the green lights go. But ultimately, formation lap, so the guys will be wanting to just settle down a little bit. The nerves will be there, a little bit anxious, and probably just hoping that turn 1 goes to plan, I guess, without any bumping and grinding and whatnot that goes on.
In the practice server last night, apparently turn 1 turned into a bit of a flashpoint on lap 1, so which required a reset of the server.
Oh, really?
Let's hope we don't get such an event tonight.
Yeah.
It goes relatively smoothly, though. I'm sure there could be some bumping and rubbing, but hopefully not too much.
Yep. Look, I think that for like even myself, you know, coming to turn 1, I've never really had the privilege of taking turn 1 in first position with Assetto Corsa, but at, you know, midfield, back of field, whatever it might be, it's always healthy just to stay back a couple of car lengths and just give yourself that little bit of extra braking room. It's no point taking yourself and someone else out at the start of what is now a long race for these guys, so you definitely want to be towards the pointy end when it's getting closer to the end of the race.
That's the racing smarts. As you get more time under your belt in sim racing, and particularly on ACC, you know, you learn those little things, and you know when to keep yourself out of trouble and when to take advantage of opportunities a bit further down.
Just for any of the other viewers there, two guys, I know I mentioned with Cheese Noodles and Fubble, but you know, for anyone else that has family or friends watching, whether it's now or post race, you know, these guys week in, week out give their 150%, and it is serious, you know, but at the same time there's a high level of respect. It's a great community, and then most of these guys are generally good friends through this community. So good luck to everyone, good luck to all families involved and watching and supporting, and let's go for a good showdown. So right now the cars will be forming up. You can't see that because I'm stuck in car with Cheese Noodles, and once they hit the green lights, we'll jump outside and have a look at hopefully everyone going through. Through turn 1.
Green light, go, go, go.
Here we go. And they're off. So Cheese has got a good start. Stu's just up behind him there. Let's just see what happens and plays out here. Well, so far, Jamie, it looks pretty damn good.
Yeah, but a little bit of contact between one of the SAR Bentleys and BHR Bentleys, but it's not too bad at the moment. No one's facing the opposite direction.
That's always good.
So the SAR Bentleys are putting pressure on the BHR Bentleys here. So we got Fubble just behind Pat.
Yep.
And Shamrock just behind Andy, as we're coming up to Piratella.
Okay. So it's going to be important for the BHR boys to just be careful, but be quick at the same time. There's a lot to play with. So that 5 points is whilst it's small, it's enough. Just for the viewers too that you don't know, but we've also got the Pro-Am race being run tonight, as well as and we've just got, who was that in the Audi? Was that Psycho's just gone off? Come straight across.
Yeah, so he's come off at the Variante Alta. Must have got on one of the curbs there and on the power down a bit too early.
Where's he popped out? So he's going to be dead last now. Just I'm not sure if he's got any. He's definitely got front end damage, so it depends on how much damage he's got, but it looks like he's probably going to cycle around. Well, I guess if you've got damage at this early in the race, it's probably worth repairing.
Quite possibly, yes. Though my ACC has just crashed, so I need to boot myself back in.
Sure, mate. I'll talk to you soon. So Cheese Noodles has just opened up a small gap on Stu. Still a long race, so these guys will have different strategies. So some will be lighter than others in terms of fuel, which does absolutely change the performance of the car. So that don't be alarmed by anything yet. It looks like Team Little Bear's done his first pit stop, so he's one of the early stoppers, and generally with most races you will see that some guys will come into the pits early so that they can alleviate some of that pressure that they might be having. But and Big Les has got his lights on again, so this is pretty stock standard stuff by Les to run the lights. Not a bad little battle there. So Stu's 1 second behind Cheese now. We've got Inter in the Ferraris, just a bit of a gap opening up there. This is a little bit like the cork in the bottle here with these guys. Manani's hot on his tail in the AMG, so he will absolutely just be wanting to capitalise on this right now and just slip in behind him and probably save his tyres a little bit. And a little bit of fuel. So. And then
That was a good start by Inter, jumping Minardi, so currently running in third. I was doing a bit of reconnaissance last night and spent a few laps behind him, and he was keeping it nice and tidy, nice and smooth, particularly coming out of Variante Alta and the two Ravazzas. So if he can keep that consistency up, some of the drivers will find it very difficult to overtake him.
And car setup, is he using a Victan special setup, do we know, or is it a...
Not sure.
Not sure. Minardi's having a look down the he's not close, but he's just letting him know that he's there. And then you got Pat. Pat's in the green Bentley for Bruce Hale Racing. So the last few rounds that we've seen Pat, he's a little bit like the silent assassin. You don't see much of him, but you know, towards the end of the race, he just seems to pop up. And he's at the right end of the list of race drivers when it matters. So I reckon he'll just be sitting there, nicely just comfortable, just thinking, just want to get a few laps under my belt, suss what these guys are doing, and then just pounce when he has to. So
Sue's keeping Shamrock.
Is he?
Yeah.
Let's have a look.
It looked like he was going for a move, but he's just pulled out of it into Tamburello. So he'll continue to follow Shamrock around for the moment. Pat's really closed up on Minardi now. He has to. Looking at the same, yep.
Oh, and Big Les has just had a moment, so he's been able to capture it. So well done, Les. Just dropped off a few, probably about a second and a half, maybe. And Pat is absolutely pressing Minardi. Now this guy means business. He's keeping his lines. He's hitting the curbing just as he needs to. He's not been too aggressive with the speed humps. And even Stu is caught up with Cheese Noodles as well. So
Minardi obviously qualified on pole in Laguna Seca, but wasn't able to keep it straight and had a couple of incidents and gave up what could have been a solid finishing position. I'm sure he'll be trying to keep it nice and tight this round and get a good result.
I just jumped in a helicopter mode on board with Stu. We'll just stick with these two guys for a minute. So Stu's just done a quicker time by a fraction to Cheese. Now Cheese is doing a good job to hold his nerve here and just keep his lines. Obviously he'd be looking in his rear vision mirror and seeing a mirror full of green Bentley, so that's all he needs to do is just keep his lines nice. Don't do anything silly.
And it is difficult to overtake here, and Nigel and Nick in the pro commentary stream last week made mention of it as well, but in the race, it seems like you've got that really long straight over the start finish line and some other lengthy straight areas. You'd think, well, why is it difficult to pass here? But quite often the corners leading onto that straight, particularly Ravazza 2, is so quick, and then the braking zone for the Tamburello turn 1 is not that long either, so it's really difficult to get a run and follow a car through the last corner and then outbrake them into turn 1. It's very difficult.
It is difficult. I experienced that in the Porsche last week. I didn't quite have the legs at the top end, so yeah, there's quite a few moments there at Tamburello where I felt the pressure. Closed my eyes a few times, I think, when I cut it in. So Stu's just keeping the pressure on, but it looks like Cheese is just pulling away a little bit again. So that's again a good effort there. Yeah, that stream last week with Nick and Nige, just amazing. Like, those guys connect so well together, and it's good to have, with Nick, for instance, he's obviously gets excited and keeps everything running quite nicely, and Nige has definitely got the perspective from a driver, but just his information is unbelievable. So I think he's also been to Imola, if I am correct in saying that. He might have mentioned it in the stream last week, which you were nearly there as well too, mate.
Almost, yeah. It was great to hear Nigel's story last week, and wish I had have got the opportunity. I was in Venice and planning to do a day trip out to Bologna and then out to Imola. I was really keen to see the circuit and obviously the Senna Memorial, but a massive rainstorm that day put an end to those plans, and we had to move on the day after. So hopefully I can get back over there and see it in person one day. It'd be great.
Well, the only thing I can think of is if the way that you drive in this particular game, if you could do that in real life, mate, then that's something that I would absolutely love to see.
Yeah, it'd be great fun to get out on one of these great circuits, historic circuits, in a real car.
Have you actually done any type of racing before?
I haven't actually. I had a couple of casual goes in go-karts when I was a bit younger, but never, wasn't fortunate enough, I suppose, with finances and things like that to be able to put anything together. As much as I annoyed my parents about it all the time, it was football registration rather than go-karts and things like that.
Okay, yep, that sounds pretty standard, doesn't it?
Yeah. So Minardi's popped onto the back of Inter. And
he is close, isn't he?
Gapped Pat a little bit.
So Pat needs to jump on the back of these guys as well. He doesn't want to drop off. He doesn't want to lose that contact with these two because they're running hot.
And particularly if he's thinking about strategy and when he might be pitting in relation to these two, the closer that you can be, the more chance you can do an undercut or an overcut with a splash and dash, take advantage of any issues they might have in a pit stop.
Minardi's had a moment.
Wide.
Yeah. So that just goes to show the pressure. So even though he's been able to hold that position, he has actually dropped off the back of Inter, which is, he'll be kicking himself for that. These guys are just like, seriously, we're a minute and 18 down in the race, and if it was anything like me last week, and I have no doubts it was like you as well, Jamie, but I was a bloody sweatball at this particular time. So right now, these guys will be hanging on for dear life, trying to do everything that they can in terms of being precise, hitting their marks, hitting their turn-ins, and just making sure that they keep it clean.
And then they'll do that for a little while and look up at the race clock and go, what? There's only 12 minutes gone? Surely we've been going for about an hour.
It was like that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
We just might just feed through just while these guys are catching up to each other. We've got Andy in position 7, so for Team BHR, just cycling along just nicely behind Fubble, 1.2 seconds. And Big Les about 11 seconds behind Andy in position 8, so again to the BMW. Psycho just jumped into the pit, so he's got the damage on board, so I'm just wondering if he will do the repair. You can see there's a bit of damage on his bonnet and front bumper bar there, which does affect the aero. The moment you get any damage on the front, guys, if you don't know, it mucks around with the aero balance of the vehicle, so you know, contributing to, could be like an understeer or oversteer, whatever it might be. But when it happens, it's nasty. So he hasn't repaired it, he's just dropped and gone. So that's just his splash and dash.
So Shamrock will be our lead driver with a pit stop under his belt.
He will be. I've just jumped on board with him. So I was going to ask you too, mate, with Piratella, so this is where Shamrock's about to come into, track limits. How tight is it here to keep it fast but on the edge?
Your brain wants you to go so fast through there, and with the runoff and the amount of speed that you take, you always feel like you can go through that little bit quicker. And the track limit there is not very forgiving, so trying to get it nice and right very early on is probably critical, because once you get that lap down, if you do go over it slightly in the race and you don't get a positive delta, then you can continue kind of pushing it to the edge for the rest of the race.
That's cool. How many track warnings did you have from last week?
I only picked up one, actually.
Did you? I had 0, which I was quite surprised about. I won't say that that's the reason, is because my car was quite a bit slower, but anyway, I was still trying. Hey, we're just on board with Stu, who is absolutely hunting down Cheese Noodles right now. And I've just had Cheese Noodles' old man is commented and has made the comment saying, I'm Cheese Noodles' dad and I still drive him to work every day. Good on you, Dad. You're a top man. Just remember, what goes around comes around. So when he's old enough to start driving and he can take you down to the pub for a beer, mate, and you can comfortably get home nice and safe. Then I thought he was going into the pits then. Are you on board with him at all, Jamie?
I'm on with Stu now, so I saw that. A little bit of gamesmanship.
Yeah.
You can see Stu is closing up in the slipstream. Looks like Stu has a little bit more pace here at the moment. You can see that he's able to brake a lot later, carry more speed into the entry of the corner. Sometimes having to back out because he's closed up on Cheese a little bit. But Cheese just needs to keep it nice and smooth here, because like we were talking about before, it is difficult to overtake and he doesn't want to give him any opportunity by making little errors.
And I did say at the start of the stream too, so there's strategies at play here. So the guys have got different fuel levels, tyre pressures will be different. So right now I think we started with track temperature of 31 degrees and now we're down to 29 degrees. And I can tell you for the audience and the guys watching, guys and girls and nanas and poppers and dads and mums, that the track temperature drops down to about final temp was 19 degrees. Jamie, is that correct about that?
Yeah, 18 or 19.
Yeah. And how much does that affect the performance of the vehicle towards the end of the race?
So obviously, because you've got declining fuel levels as well, so your car will become very oversteery, particularly on entry. You'll have your rear tyre wear will be high, and so you'll be balancing a lot of spins, or trying to avoid the spins basically.
And we've only seen one spin so far, and that was from Psycho at the start of the race on the first lap.
So far so good. Stu follows Cheese over the start finish line again. 4 tenths separating. That's probably a little bit too far back to make an overtake attempt here. The other thing with the tyres as well, if you're pushing them when they're under pressured or over pressured, is you're taking more out of them than what you would if you had them in the window. So it just compounds things. If you've already got wear, it'll double it, or just wear that extra more than what you really wanted or needed it to.
So I'm just on board with Stu at the moment. Just the guys have just gone past Team Little Bear. That's just obviously seen the blue flag. Stu's gone a little bit wide at Piratella there, so he's just probably dropped off a couple of tenths. But this is an outstanding drive by Cheese so far. Like his lines, his entry points. So Stu's gone deep, where Cheese has had a nice cut in, has been able to get a nice drive up, coming into. And I'll probably say this wrong, guys, but Variante Alta. Is that correct, Jamie? No?
That's right, yeah.
Good. He's doing a remarkable job, and I know that there's some close battles back down the list, and I'll just jump off Stu for a sec, because he has dropped back again a little bit more. And there is a battle down with Andy and Fubble by the looks of it. So we've got the top 9 drivers still haven't done a pit stop, so there's a lot of strategy at play here. It's probably a case of who's going to blink first.
Minardi looks like has succumbed to an error at some point, and he's dropped down a few positions.
He has, hasn't he? So he's not going to fall into the clutches of Big Les at this stage, so he definitely wants to keep it clean.
Cheese is in the pits.
Daz has just gone a little bit wide there at Minarelli. So Cheese Noodle's in the pits. That looked like a quick pit stop, and actually looked like he got onto his pit block in the pit box quite nicely there, so that's a really good effort. And guys, if you don't know, this is one of the biggest things that changes the outcome of a race, is going into the pit box. If you are off point by even just half a foot, the car will literally sit there for a couple of seconds, and you can lose positions. So it's just deadly. So but he's dropped in behind Big Les anyway.
And he's just taken Fubble for 4th spot. Coming up to Piratella, it was a great move. Fubble got a little bit out of sorts on the exit of Tosa, hit the gravel, and Andy took the run up into Piratella and got him around the outside. So nice move from Andy.
But Fubble looks like he's not going to let him just run away with it. He's that Bentley absolutely just sucks up the curbs. I can't believe that those guys just drive over them like they're not even there. It's nuts.
To some extent, the AMG is reasonably good over the curbs as well, at least from what I've seen when I've done a few laps in it. Although looking at Minardi's car, looks like he's got a few war wounds, particularly on the front, so perhaps the reason for him dropping down was he's had some contact with the wall.
Yeah, that's always going to be a killer, isn't it, when that happens. The Fubble's hanging in there, mate. He's probably sitting there right now thinking, bug you, Andy. I'm going for this. So shoes out front. I reckon Andy just got a little bit oversteery coming out of Tosa just then. So when Fubble sees that, he'll probably be thinking, okay, yep, he did get the pass on me, but he's still a little bit too sketchy.
So I think this hasn't worked out too bad for Cheese. He's obviously come in for that splash and dash. Stu was putting a lot of pressure on him, and taking that pressure off. It's a long race, get some clean air, and he's found that clean air. So it's 15 seconds until the next driver on track, which is Les. So he's got a bit of time now. He can work up into a rhythm, perhaps try and hit his fastest lap and set a really high speed delta and keep trying to match it every lap. And hopefully when Stu comes to pit himself, they'll be nice and close on track.
So that's basically the key for Cheese, is just to keep it nice and tidy. I'm just on board with him now. Just his line into Variante Alto is just so nice and smooth and clean. Good exit. I'm just thinking that looking at his steering wheel inputs there, pretty smooth as well. So exciting times ahead, guys. So for those people that are watching, welcome to Race on Oz live stream of the AM1 GT3 series, round 9 at Imola. This is the last round. It's an endurance race, and these guys are absolutely hammering. So far, super clean. We've only had a couple little scraps, but no drive-throughs. There hasn't really been any contact between other drivers. It's only been drivers making some errors themselves. But for the mums and dads and the nans and pops and the brothers and sisters that are watching, big shout out to you guys. Thank you very much for jumping on board. Really appreciate that that you're on to watch your son or your brother or your dad, whoever it is. Just, you know, this is a fantastic opportunity to see these guys do the jobs and that they're doing and the thing that they love doing as well.
Absolutely. Fubbles retaking that position on Andy.
I missed that. I apologise. Minardi looks like he's catching up too, so he's coming back into play.
It's a little bit of damage, but maybe it's not too bad for him. Maybe it's only minor, allowing him to keep the speed up through some of those high-speed corners. Maybe not a lot of downforce issues.
Well, if it's anything like the Porsche Cup race that we had last Thursday night at Spa, when you had damage, the car actually felt a lot better. It drove straighter. So big shout out to JJ for that as well. Just fantastic that, you know, we some of us guys have put requests in, and he's absolutely supported that idea. And I know I speak about it all the time, but it's just an absolutely fun series. Still serious, still, you know, fast with action and lots of incidents, but just, yeah, great work. Just another example of what the community with Race on Oz is able to do with the sharing and the caring and everyone getting on board to do the things that we love to do.
Yeah, it was great fun, and we've got another Cup Series coming up starting Thursday.
That's the Camaro, Chevy Camaro.
Looking forward to it.
Please tell me you're going to be an arriving driver. You haven't been sitting there at home practicing.
I did 5 or 6 laps a bit earlier today, and I can safely say I've got no idea what I'm doing in this car.
Well, I'm glad to hear that.
It doesn't quite come to me as quickly as the Porsche Cup.
Yep.
So I won't give it too much more time, and I'll jump in. I had great fun in the Porsche cars. And
how good was that, mate? Clearly, I was able to come away with a win at that last race, but only thanks to you and Vic for starting rear of field, so I appreciate that. But you know what, at the end of the day, I drove my backside off for that, just to try and keep it clean. So no one else knows this, but yeah, you guys started rear field, gave me the opportunity to win the race, so thank you.
It was good to keep it interesting and have a bit of fun.
Oh, Minardi's just gone around.
Yeah. But yeah, like I had a great laugh, particularly last week with so many incidents, and it's just what I love being a part of. You know, we have the serious stuff, but also the fun stuff as well, and get on and have a chat. And yeah, I couldn't let Vic win everything. So.
Well, I don't think anyone wants Vic to win. Oh, actually, they probably do if you're his teammate, but. Oh, and Andy's just gotten into the back of Fubble, so that's going to be a readdress, I would say. If Fubble can quickly get back on track. Minardi's caught
through.
Up. Yep.
Oh, this is going to be interesting.
Andy's readdressing. So unfortunately, that's what happens. Minardi's capitalised on that, so he's going to take position there. Unfortunately, that's just one of the pressures where you're running in behind someone, and like these guys, literally, you know, they've done, 16 laps, and they've been nose to tail pretty much the whole time. And yeah, if you're going a little bit too deep, it's hard to pick your turning points and brake points when you're right up, sitting under the rear spoiler of the car in front of you. So unfortunate, but good sportsmanship that Andy has readdressed that. So he's still got plenty of time to fight back, and no issues there. Minardi's just gone wide in dirt. And is there a connection?
Yes. There was. Andy's gone into the side as Minardi's come back across the circuit.
Okay.
But thankfully, Andy's managed to keep it reasonably straight. He would have picked up some damage.
So he's gone into the side of him on the left side or right side?
Yeah. So Minardi's come back across the track sideways, and Andy's gone into...
Oh, Andy's pretty untidy.
Yeah. So I think Andy might have a bit of damage.
Okay. Well, hang in there, Andy. So Team BHR are fighting to win a back-to-back teams championship. Right now, P&L are the team in front, so Captain Ty Morgo will absolutely just be sitting on the edge of his seat hoping that his guys perform, and right now that's exactly what they're doing. Cheese Noodles is leading the way. He's got the first pit stop in terms of first runners, so there's a bit of a game going on here between these guys, Stuart and Cheese. So neither one of them know when the pit stops are completed, where they're going to come out, but I do know that they're trying their hardest to do the best that they can.
So that last lap, Cheese was in the 1:45s, which is, I would have expected him to be a little bit quicker.
Yep.
Maybe it was just an off lap, whereas Stu last lap of 44.0.
Okay.
So that's pace that I'd expect.
Well, the
pro guys
just had a minute 43.
Yeah, Vic and I in the 42s.
Yep. Andy's in the pits. Just curious to see if he does any repairs here. So certainly not a splash and dash, that's for sure. Oh, it's unfortunate when that happens. You've got a car circling around in front of you, and you try your absolute best to miss it, and sometimes you just can't.
Inter's not doing a bad job here. He's about 13 seconds behind Stu.
He's catching too, I think, isn't he?
I think Stu had a bit of a bad lap or a bad sequence of corners, so lost out a couple of seconds. But
he's coming into the pits now.
Yeah.
And Pat's just coming down the main straight. Will effectively take second position. So that will be Team BHR 1 and 2 at this stage, but those two guys haven't done their pit stops yet. Minardi's in the pits as well, so you can see his rear spoilers slightly bent. The rear aero on that car would be destroyed. Oh, poor old Inter and Minardi literally sharing the same pit box. So that's all.
Oh, yeah. He's reversing in.
Oh no.
That just costs you so much time.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I won't comment on that.
It's gutting when you have to reverse back into your pit, or your mechanics move you and you thought you'd nailed it. It's yeah, the seconds are just tick by.
So Inter was in there for a little while too. So is he going to come out in front of Big Les, I wonder? No, he's dropped down behind. So
Big Les, this is interesting here. Cheese Noodles on Big Les. So this is for position, but Big Les is letting him through.
Now that's
obviously
that in itself. Big Les didn't have to do that because that's still fighting for a position.
That's right, but I'm sure Cheese is really thankful because he didn't need to be held up. He needs to keep banging in those laps.
He sure does.
Make this strategy work for him. His last was a 44.4.
So just going through Minarelli there, he's just clipped the curbing on the right hand side and gotten a bit airborne. So a little bit uncharacteristic. He's gone deep over the curbing there at Varente Alta as well. So I reckon that he's grasping at everything that he possibly can at the moment to try and get the best possible lap times he can to capitalise on when Stewart goes into the pits. He wants to be right up there with him. So you know, for those people at home watching this is going to be a very eventful race towards the end once the pit stops have actually been made. So make sure you stay on board with us. Happy to if Cheese's dad's out there, mate. Yep, definitely chuck some more comments in there for your young fella. Throw him some support. I know all these guys watch the races afterwards when they've all finished and settled down, and they love to listen to the commentary and they love to see themselves on YouTube. So you know, throw some comments out there of encouragement and whatnot. So we all love it, and we all support it as well. So we'll have a look at Stu for a second coming down the main straight. So again, clean car, clean lines. It's just on a Sunday drive pretty much.
43.4 that lap, so he's getting back into his rhythm again.
So yeah, that's pretty good, isn't it? Pat's in second spot. Fubble trouble. So Fubble's, so it's hard to tell at the moment with these top three guys until they do a pit stop to see where they actually fall back into position. But look, at the end of the day, they're still cycling around. They've got clean cars and doing the best that they can. Cheese is up in a fourth. Les is in fifth. For GRT, Games and Racing. Inter as well in the Ferrari. Just waiting for the camera to catch up. So yep, he's coming around. Shanrock's done his first pit stop. He's in the Sylvie Acoustic Racing Bentley. It's got a clean livery as well, so it doesn't look like there's any damage on that. And Psycho in the out is still sporting that damage at the front. So that's a good effort, the fact that he has got damage, that he's still cycling around. So he's just trying to get as much as he can. So Dylan Power, go the big cheese noodles. Hammer in the Bentley, P&L. So I feel like Jamie, given that his position, he will be. Look, he could be critical to the outcome of the team championship as well, and with the other guys in the other in the other races that are occurring right now. Every point matters right now.
That's right, and obviously it's a live championship across 3 servers at the moment. We know that there's some strong candidates for victories across BHR and PNL in the other servers.
So I'm going to put you on the spot here for a moment, Jamie. I've been looking at some of the chit chat through Discord, and have you made a decision for the next season of what car you're going to drive, mate?
Interesting question. I haven't made the decision yet.
Good response.
I was saying though in our team channel that I've probably not had the time before between seasons to do a lot of testing and comparing of different cars, and I have a little bit more time at the moment, so I'm using it and trying some cars that I haven't even driven yet, which is good fun.
So are you tempted to try something a little bit different away from the Ferrari?
Yeah, I was tempted last season as well, but just to minimise friction going into a new season, I kept with it. But this time I think I'll park it in the garage and try something else.
Okay.
I'm not sure what yet.
Have you driven the Aston Martin yet with the V12?
I have not driven the Aston yet.
I'll tell you what, when you get to the end of the rev limiter with that thing and you change gears and you've got that pop that goes through the car, you do the in-car view when you're racing, is that correct?
Yes.
Yep, the actual pop from the exhaust is nuts.
I'll jump on it on my happy merry-go-round of car testing in the next couple of days.
Beautiful. I reckon there'll be a few people that'll be keen to see what you're driving, mate. They'll want to jump on and share some setups, I reckon.
Absolutely, and I'm sure it'll be the same for Vic as well. A lot of people will be keen to kind of use him as a benchmark, and obviously take the benefit of the setups as well. He obviously does the setups for many different cars, but if you're driving the same car as Vic, you know you'll get the primo setup.
Yeah, it's interesting that you say that. I know that in the Porsche Cup last week, I actually had my own setup, and I know JJ made a mention of, because I was out in front, that I was using Vic's setup, which I wasn't. But I can't drive with Vic's setup for some reason. It doesn't suit my style of driving. As we've just had Pat come in for, it looks like a splash and dash as well, Jamie. So that's his first stop. So we've got 50 minutes to go, 22 laps down. So I've just had Dylan Power come on as well. So go the big cheese noodles as I said before, but just Jamie, just some feedback for ourselves. So Dylan's put a comment saying the commentary that you blokes are awesome, love it. So thank you, Dylan. Really, really appreciate that. What you probably you may be able to pick up from what we're talking and how we're talking, I'm not sure, but we are very new to this. So the fact that Jamie and myself are doing this and in different houses, of course, COVID restrictions are in play here. Look, I'm loving it, and thank you for the feedback, mate. That's really good. Thank you so much, and thank you for jumping on board. I'm glad that you're loving it, and if you're any of the family members of Cheese, I'm sure that you guys are getting around him and cheering him on. So well done.
And he's into the 43s for his
last lap.
So I'll just see as he comes over the line here. Looks like it'll be a low 44, so that's good pace as well. This could be close. Just waiting for Stu. When's he going to make his first stop? We're approaching half distance.
So his mechanic won't be giving him any of that intel. He'll be relying on looking at the track map, I think, and just seeing where Cheese is. But I have no doubts that Stuart's been around for a long time with this type of racing, and he definitely has a lot of stuff up his sleeve. So I reckon he'll be pulling rabbits out of hats for sure, mate, and just trying to do the right thing at the right time, and when it matters. So, and right now, guys, we're down to 26 degrees for track temperature, so probably getting a little bit skatey. I have no doubt. So guys will be looking at their tyre pressures and thinking, damn, did I set it right, or do I need to do my pit stop now? This is the time. Do I change tyres? And question to yourself, Jamie, recommendation, tyre change, yes or no?
I think it's the quickest way around here.
Change tyres?
Yeah, but obviously you could give up track position if you're fighting someone who has decided not to take tyres, which is obviously what happened with me and Vic last week. So if you have the pace and you execute your two stops in the right way, I think, as Andy's up the inside of Hammer into Tamburello, that was a great move. Very late braking.
Yeah, I think he's done his repairs too.
That was a great move. He came from a long way back, but he signalled it, so Hammer knew he was coming.
So if you were part of the Team BHR group, you'd be jumping up and down with jaw right now, because you know there's potentially a couple of points taken away from P&L. So this is how close it is, guys. This is how exciting it is right now, as we're watching these guys play this out, and just I just can't wait to see when all this finishes, what the actual result is. And when I say that too, Jamie, I'm trying to contain myself, because being part of Team BHR, of course I'm excited, and of course I want them to win, but at the same time I'm very just neutral right now with respect to these guys doing a fantastic job. So
absolutely. Yes, we've got Stu in now.
Okay, here we go. Just on Stu, so we'll just see how long he stops for. It's definitely not a splash and dash, that's for sure. So Cheese Noodles is coming down into Ravazza right now, so Stu's still in the pits, and this is exactly what I said at the start of the race. Both of these drivers are on different pit strategies, and Stu's still sitting there. This is a long stop.
This must be a tyre change. Yep, that was about 30 seconds.
Okay. So with 45 minutes to go and changing tyres, that's literally halfway through the race.
So this means Cheese now leads because his one stop was a splash and dash earlier on.
Yep. So Stu's going to come out with newer tyres. Cheese is going to be on older tyres. I'm just wondering right now if, as Big Les goes past Stu, I'm just wondering if Cheese is sitting there thinking, what do I do next? What's part of his strategy? Do I change tyres? Do I keep going long and hope that Stu doesn't catch up?
We are halfway through. Keep pushing.
His hand might be forced depending on how long he's fueled for.
Yeah, well, Cheese is going through Piratella right now, and Stu's just coming down into Tosa, so it's not a huge gap. Still a long way to go in the race, and green tyres versus used tyres is a big difference. And I know, Jamie, you said before about your altercation between you and I say altercation is probably the wrong word, but the battle that you and Vic had there towards the end. Can I just say, as I was in the same race as you guys, and you know, struggling in the Porsche, but I was actually watching the track map with you guys when you were a couple of seconds behind me, thinking, man, that is so close. I cannot wait to watch the replay on this.
Yeah, it's look, Vic and I have been battling it out, you know, for a few seasons now, and I suppose, you know, we've learned each other, you know, where our strengths and weaknesses are. You know, we've learned to, you know, do close, hard battling and not take each other out, which is really good. We have that respect. He did a great job again. He's to go an hour and a half on a set of tyres in any car, even one that can look after the tyres as well as the McLaren, with a driver such as Vic behind the wheel, it's still a phenomenal effort, and I was not making it easy for him on fresh tyres, but it shows the importance of, if you can keep it clean out of the right corners, particularly the last corner, and don't make mistakes, then you can keep track position. You can stay ahead, even with really, really worn tyres.
Yeah, so I didn't realise that he didn't change tyres. So I guess it just goes to show how difficult it is to pass on this track. If you do keep the racing line, it is hard, isn't it? Yeah,
and like we were saying before, the entry to out of the last corner is fast, and the braking zone into turn one isn't very long. So you miss some of those golden areas that you need to be able to execute a pass.
So, sorry, Jamie, Cheese Noodles old man's just gotten on again, and he's just made a comment that he said Cheese is better. He's a better bobcat and excavator operator than a race car driver. So I'm glad to see that Cheese operates in the civil maintenance and civil construction side of things. So big shout out to Cheese for that, because that's the same area that I work in as well. So definitely not driving a bobcat and not driving an excavator. But Cheese, if he's this good behind the steering wheel of a Bentley, I'd love to see him behind the sticks of a bobcat and an excavator for sure. I'd probably put those. Actually, I'm just going to say this is not safe, so I encourage you guys at home, don't try this at home. If you're in a bobcat and you're doing wheel stands, don't do it. But if Cheese can do it, I'd love to see it. He's just in the pits again for his second stop, so. And it's a longer one.
Yeah, so I've got the timer on him here. So Stu will take the lead because Fubble is also pitted as well. So Stu will lead from Pat. And Cheese is away, so that was about 30 seconds. So he's taking tyres.
Tyres as well. So interesting, he's going to have slightly newer tyres towards the end of the race.
And he doesn't need to make another stop now. So that's all on Stu when he's going to take his last stop, which will likely be a splash and dash, or probably only a little bit of fuel.
So put yourself in Stu's race suit right now, mate. What do you do?
I think the key thing is he's got clean air, so he doesn't need to worry about back markers or being in battle with someone. Now you just focus on every corner, just hitting the braking point, clipping the exit the right way every single lap, getting the power down early, keeping that feel on the power, because as your tyres go, you'll start to lose that traction, that bite coming out of the corner, and you need to be aware of that, because if you're not, then the chances of you spinning are quite high. And with the temperatures dropping, you'll need to keep that in mind as well. So you need to keep an eye on all of these things, but also not overthink it, and just remember to keep being clean in your lines and avoiding the gravel and the wall and the grass.
Well, yeah, that's key, isn't it? At the end of the day, down to track temperature of 25. Still got probably a good 5-6 degrees to go towards the end of the race. So there's 39 minutes. These guys are going to be, if they're not already, they're definitely going to feel it towards the end of the race. So, look, shout out to these guys. We've got 11, so we've dropped a couple off, but great effort so far, guys. Long season. I get that you're probably a little bit exhausted. The amount of testing and the amount of adjustments that go into just these particular race nights, you literally cannot do just an arrive and drive. Some of these guys spend hours. Some guys don't, but most of the guys spend hours just doing car setups and the little tweaks of, whether it's an anti-roll bar or it's a preload for your diff or whatever it might be. It's just crazy how much one click up, down, whatever it might be, changes the performance of the car, and that's what the guys are searching for. So on race night, that they are absolutely 100% committed that their car is going to get them from start to finish in a really, really high position. So I'm just getting excited just talking about this, Jamie, mate. I just want to jump in my cockpit and drive.
Well, we all are waiting for the details of next season, season 5. Hotly anticipated. Where are we going to be going in the circuits? Who's going to be driving what car? And it'll get the juices flowing all over again.
Yeah, I think it's absolutely. I can't wait myself, to be honest. It's we got draft, the teams draft coming up as well, so that will be interesting to see where people move and go into different teams. That will definitely mix it up a little bit, and hopefully with the way that the teams are set up now, we can just equalise the teams across the board, and even bring the racing that we bring to you guys week in, week out a little bit tighter, a bit closer. Ultimately, that's what we want. We want you guys to sit back there and just enjoy what we're watching here. Can't tell you how much I want to be out there right now. I wish I was, but I'm not. But man, these guys are doing such a good job. I love it.
Just having a look here. So Pat is currently in second place ahead of Inter.
Yeah.
Who is catching him reasonably quickly. He's taken a few tenths out of him in the last lap.
Yep.
So I'm not quite sure how this change has happened, whether it was through the pits or on track, but it looks like Inter's got the pace and is closing on Pat.
Well, that's interesting, and he's riding the curves quite nicely too. So Burradog's the team captain of Games and Racing for these guys, with the black, gold and red livery. So he'll be sitting there rubbing his hands together thinking, we're in for a chance here for a good spot on the podium if we just keeping clean lines and hunting down Team BHR by the looks of it. So maybe he said his tyre pressure's right through the pit stop, mate. I'm not sure, but if he has,
quite possibly.
Well done.
Yeah. So now he's 2.6 behind, so yeah, he's really rocketing up to the rear wing of Pat.
I don't know if Pat changed tyres either. I can't remember what his pit stop was, whether it was a long one or...
Yeah, unfortunately I didn't get it either, but that might explain why he's ahead. Because the Inter has been very, very consistent. Has avoided errors so far. His car looks fine, doesn't have any signs of damage, so...
Nah, he looks like he's on a mission.
Yep. Might go on board with him.
Oh, I'll tell you what though, it still kills me with... So my young fella Lenny Dog is still... Burradog is like his biggest bloody fan. It's like, mate, what about Dad? And he goes, but I love Burradog. I don't know what the hell's going on there. But nah, Burradog's an absolutely top fella. Great captain by the looks of it. He started this team at the start of this season, captaining these guys, and he's done a ripping job. So massive shout out to Burradog. G'day buddy, if you're on board or if you're not, if you're watching later on, big thumbs up dude. You've done a stellar job with these guys and had some really good performances.
He'll be happy with Inter here, though they did match each other, Pat and Inter,
for the times.
In terms of the times, 44.7. So
okay, well that's good from Pat that he's been able to step up and just increase his pace a little bit. So guys, with 34 minutes to go to the race end, unfortunately, this has been an absolute blast on board with Jamie tonight. So thank you, mate. Really appreciate that you could have the time to come and join us to be part of something special.
Thank you.
Stu's just cycling around, just doing what he's doing. So, and Pat, so Team BHR 1 and 2 at the moment, with Inter in position 3 in the Ferrari, doing a really good job. And Fubble, go young fella, you keep bloody rocking that controller, mate. You're doing a ripping job. And if your mum's there, big shout out to your mum as well too, buddy. Good work. And Shamrock in position 5 with Selby Acoustic Racing. Team Bentley. And we know what Cheese is doing. He's got a clean car. Eyes forwards. I don't reckon he'd be thinking about Bobcats and Excavators right at this particular time, so he'd just be wanting a race win. But keep going there, young fella. You're doing a good job.
So Inter's pulled the pin here and he's gone into the pits.
Okay, interesting. Bit of strategy to play here. You reckon, Jamie? Just could be tyres.
He'd closed in to within a second and a half or so of Pat, so he's decided that rather than taking the battle on track, see if he can do the undercut.
Yep. So the undercut works here quite well, or?
I think it ultimately depends on the clear air and your tyre situation. Not so much, whether it's the overcut or the undercut. It's just all about how you execute that outlap and inlap. But he's in the pits for quite a while, so...
He is, isn't he? I'm thinking tyre change, mate.
Maybe this is a tyre change. Yep.
So 30 seconds?
Get away. Yeah, a little bit more than 30 seconds, so he must have had a bit slow hitting the marks.
Okay.
But he's taken tyres, so about the same time as I did last week, so it's a similar strategy.
And when did you pit for tyres? Was it halfway, or was it closer towards the end like this is?
About this time, about 34, 35 minutes to go.
And how many seconds were you behind Vic when you come out of the pits?
Question.
That's okay.
Maybe about 14 or so.
Okay, so that's not bad. That's encouraging. So is that Stu in behind? It is. Stu's just coming up in behind Inter as well. Now this will be very interesting to see what happens here.
So Inter is being lapped, so he's obliged to get out of the way, which is not what he wants on the fresh boots.
No. He doesn't have to either, does he? Yes, he does.
If
there'll be blue flags for sure.
Yeah. If you can pull ahead a bit, he won't have to, but if you can't break it and it looks like Stu's hanging with him, so he might need to give way.
Yeah, I reckon he'll do it up here going through Minarelli and just pull off to the side, which he's done. So great. Again, I say this every week, guys, but these guys, the sportsmanship that they show is just high level, and Stu's got a little bit loose there as well. So, but again, the fact that he's done that, well done, mate. It just allows the guys up at the front to continue to have their battle, and right to the very end as well. So Fubble's just left the pits as well. He's on his way out. So he's quite a bit behind Cheese Noodles right now. Andy's 9 seconds. Oh no, where is he? He must be... Yep, he's in front of Fubble, so that's interesting. Be interesting to see where he comes out after his last pit stop. Just check some of these other guys down the line here. So Big Les in the BMW, cycling around. Still got the headlights blazing, so that might be something that he just does as a traditional type thing. It's good to see Les is actually doing quite well, considering the last few rounds we've seen him perform at a high level and then he's had quite a few off. So the fact that he's still in the game and racing is really, really good. And Inter's done both of his pit stops, and Daz has just got to stop and go for 30 seconds in the ICR Ferrari, so that's disappointing. It probably comes down to something that happened in the pit stop.
Yeah, he just finished a pit stop, so must
Yeah.
have got on the gas a bit too early or
Speeding
took a bit too much
infringement.
speed in. Yeah.
Yeah. And Shamrock in the Shelby Acoustic Racing Bentley. I just wonder if these guys, a lot of these guys that drive the Bentley, whether they will continue to do that. I know when I was talking to Burradog the other day and I asked him the same question about car, and he said that he may continue to use the Bentley. So I guess if it's something that you're familiar with, especially with such a long season, it probably makes a little bit of sense. But there's also the guys out there that want to challenge themselves with driving different cars too. So each to their own.
Had quite a lot of Bentleys on all of the grids
We have,
this
haven't
season.
we? Yeah.
So, but we've had a lot of, if not newcomers, then guys who perhaps haven't had the experience some of us had, and the Bentley is a bit of a forgiving car to jump into.
Well, the way that it rides those sausage curbs, it's if you're new coming into this is the perfect car to drive for sure. So Daz is just going to come into the pits now. He's going to serve his penalty for stop and go for 30 seconds. And I look, you know, for what it's worth, like Daz, Team Little Bear, they're at the back of the grid. Those guys love doing what they're doing. They don't, you know, pull the pin. They just hang in there. They just enjoy the night. So, you know, big shout out to those guys as well for doing what they're doing.
So Shamrock's cycling around in 8th at the moment. He's done both his stops. He hasn't really had the pace tonight, has he?
Not that we've seen in the past, mate. No, not at all. It looks like he's getting a little bit untidy with some of those corners through Minarelli there. So just coming up into Verante outside. So that's clean. I guess he's probably just feeling the pressure. I'm not sure.
He does have a big lead in terms of the points in the AM combined server points.
Ah, that's right. He does too.
So there's probably not, you know, he doesn't need to worry about being on the podium or anything like that. So he might just be wanting to get through the race, you know, avoid the issues and bag a solid point scoring position, which 8th is. You know, we have a smallish grid again, but so even if you're in the lower half of the grid, you're still in the top 10 almost. So you know, that might be all he needs. Although Stu is leading, who is his next challenger in the points. Though I'm talking as if I know all of this, but I'm really not sure how exactly we're calculating points, whether it's by server or class or
I haven't looked at it tonight. I've got no idea either, mate.
So yeah, we'll figure that out somehow in Discord.
Just looking at Stu here, he's right up the back of Les. Well, Les has let him go by. So I just got Cheese's old man again. He's said if Cheese wins, Ty Morgo might have to shape me a new MAL. I'm not sure, is there more to the comment there, Dad Noodles, but just let me know what it is that he's going to make you, mate. But either way, I reckon that you're going to be pretty proud of him, of your young fella there, if he gets up and wins. So Les into the pits. I'm not sure if that might have affected Stu with his lap time, but what did he just go through, or what's he going to go through in terms of lap time?
Mid 45 there from Stu, so it's held him up a little bit. Oh, these seconds could be crucial. Cheese is in the 44s.
Yep.
Looks to be consistently there.
Well, I just want these two guys at the top to pit, so we know where the hell we are and we can see. Yeah, he's got nice lines. I love the way that thing just rides the curbs. You just get a little bit airborne going over that the curves at Verante Alto there, and just sets you up nicely for when you've got to come into Rivazza and have a nice drive down the main straight. As quickly as you can coming down to Tamburello, it's so important. I mean, it's only a couple of kilometres, but boy, how important it is, Jamie, to get a good run onto the front straight there.
Yeah, it's so important. And you know, whether it's you're trying to nail your lap time for qualifying, or whether you're trying to avoid being overtaken or trying to make that crucial overtake, it's probably the most important traction area on the circuit. Last week in Pro, I followed Vic around there for 20 odd minutes, and he just nailed that exit perfectly. And no matter what I did, you know, trying different lines, slowing up the entry to get a better exit, I just couldn't get it past him because he was so good exiting that corner.
Yeah, sure. So I'm just looking at the. So Cheese is coming up through Peratella now. Stu's coming down towards Villeneuve chicane into Tosa. So you'd probably suggest he's probably got a fairly decent lead at this stage. We've still got 22 minutes to go, so anything can happen. I don't know if Cheese's old man has tried to re-comment, but there's a message is coming up from Race on Oz where a message has been retracted, so I'm not sure what's been written in there, or the attempt to write something in. I'm not quite sure, but whatever it is, we've got to keep it clean.
Maybe there was a reason that word wasn't fully typed out.
Possibly. He's probably getting a little bit excited for his young fella. So we've got Pat's completed both of his pit stops now, so he's cycling around quite nicely. He's got Andy just in behind him, who still needs to complete his mandatory second stop. Looking at the timing screen right now, Stuart and Andy, both of those guys are the only ones to complete their stops. So this is, as soon as that happens, we'll know exactly what's happening. But the field has definitely pushed out. It's fairly well spread around Imola. So this is a track that's 4.9 kilometres long with 19 turns. We've got a good combination of cars, Bentleys, Ferraris, the BMW, and we did have the Audi there as well. So
yes, unfortunately we've lost Psycho and Minardi from the grid.
Okay, so just sorry Jamie, just shout out to Cheese's old man, mate. Whatever, if you were writing something, it wasn't you, it was one of our administrators that was writing a message that wasn't supposed to go through. So thank you for that, for clarifying. So all good. Carry on. Sorry, mate. Go.
It's all right. So you were talking about a little bit before, and
yep,
his commitment, and he just gets in there and has a go, and he loves it. I seem to recall he finished both of his pit stops pretty early, maybe within the first 20 minutes or so.
He sure did, yeah.
So it'd be a rather long stint of over an hour. It's be interested for his thoughts on how he's handled this.
Well, I reckon his tyres will probably be scorching right now, but 21 degrees. Still hanging in there, which is good. Thanks, JJ. Appreciate that, mate. I wasn't quite sure what was going on there, so Cheese Noodle's old man's just been absolutely ripping tonight. He's got some good support, and we're all cheering for the young fella.
So she's been working through some traffic. I'm not sure whether he's just cleared Fubble or whether Fubble has managed to keep up with him or close a gap to him, and he's got Little Pair just ahead. Then not that much further along will be Andy and Pat, so Stu might be thinking about taking his final stop here.
Yeah, I reckon he'll be looking at the track map, just thinking where do I slot back in, and just wanting clean air and nothing but clean air. So whilst Little Bear pulls over and lets Stu and Fubble through, so again, you know, well done. Yeah, so JJ's just made a comment just saying that it's going to be a close finish. So absolutely, mate, that's exactly what we want, and I reckon you're right. This is on the edge of your chair stuff. This, so much so, like I said it before, my rig's sitting right here in front of me. I just want to jump in the thing and start turning laps.
So Stu carries on, but obviously with that traffic, he's incurred a little bit of a time penalty there. So that's a mid 44, which is a bit down on what he had been doing.
Yeah, he's still hitting his marks though. He's like even going through Piratella there. He's nice and shallow and yeah, very clean. We've still got Pat and Andy in position 3 and 4, but as we can see, Andy still needs to pit, so and
so Inter looks like he's closing on Fubble as well, 2 seconds, which
I just jumped on with
pace.
Fubble. I still can't believe that Fubble's using a controller. I know that he has to, and I get that, but holy cow, what an effort. This is insane that at this level of racing, that he can hold these lines with using a controller is absolutely nuts. I would challenge most guys that do this week in, week out to jump on a controller and do it at a high level that he does. So I just love it. I reckon it's great that he's on board with us, and just nuts. So JJ's just asking a question too, Jamie, which car are you two changing to next season? So interesting that you should ask that question, JJ, because I'll answer that for you in Jamie's. So yeah, that's a good question.
That's right.
How'd that go, mate? Was that all right?
That's a good action replay of the conversation that happened before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Stu's in the pits.
He is. Here we go.
All right. Okay, so he's just done a splash and dash by the looks of it.
Yeah,
so he's just coming up to Variante Alta. So
looks like she's done it.
He certainly does, but he needs to keep it clean for the next 15 minutes. So the pressure's not off of him here.
So the difference is basically the start-finish straight. Stu is coming into turn 1, Cheese is coming out of the last corner.
Yep. You know what, at the end of the day, this is still an awesome effort by these guys. And it all literally came down to strategy. Just Daz is off the track there. But again, right from the start, we saw, Cheese had pole position. Stu was in second position, came in late to the qualifying. Was able to get up there into second position behind Cheese and apply pressure, but you can see that Cheese was pulling away there a little bit at the start. But again, it comes down to what strategy are they running. So
Inter's right up on Fubble here, going down the start-finish straight. We might even see Inter try and make a move here.
He is hot on him. He's been very defensive in his driving. Well done, fellas. That's great viewing. So, question, JJ, have you decided on the car for next season, mate? I look forward to seeing what your response is. I'm hoping that you're honest and forthcoming with your information, as Jamie and I have been. Oh, he's right there, isn't he, behind Fubble?
Yep, he's taking that speed in, braking really late. You can see coming through Aqua Minerale, he's got a bit more confidence there. It's difficult on the traction in the Ferrari because it can get a bit sketchy when you're half on the curbs, half on the tarmac. He's looking for a way.
Yeah, I've just jumped on board with Inter, so just curious to see what his exit lines and whatnot are like from an in-car point of view.
Yeah, so difficult to get the braking right here. Downhill, easy to lock up.
He's done it right
hit
though.
The apex nicely. This is the corner. He really nailed the exit. Oh,
he's gone in a third slightly. Damn. I reckon he would have had that for sure.
So now he's got to go and do that work again. Make sure he keeps up nice and close onto the rear wing of Bubbles and go through that last corner as quickly as possible whilst avoid the gravel.
He's still getting a run on him, so it was just showing his nose a little bit, letting Fubble know that he's there. Fubble's not deterred by the pressure, he's keeping his lines. JJ, in terms of testing, I think they said they wanted to see you in a Jaguar next season. There's a challenge for you, mate.
Under the wild card.
Yeah, wild card entry, absolutely. So Inter's still keeping the pressure on Fubble here, and you know, the fact this guy up in front is just doing a remarkable job on a controller. I don't know how he does it. So it blows me away that he's able to do that. So and to keep it so smooth. But he's gone defensive there. He's blocking the corner, so breaking the line of Inter in the Ferrari and. Here we go, he's right up his rear wing.
Really close here. Oh, I think they touched.
Give it a little bump. Yep.
Yeah.
What do they call that? Bump drafting?
Yeah, I think that might have actually hurt his chances of getting up alongside. It's really
There's
close.
Not much slipstreaming though, is there? He has, hasn't he?
He's gone around the outside.
Is he going to hold it?
Can he hold on to it?
Oh, look at that. Well done, guys. Still got it. Oh, that is absolutely amazing. Well done.
Superb. Great pass.
The Fubble's just jumped down the inside and has gone deep. They've touched. And they've... Whoa. Jeepers creepers. Oh, you probably just got a little bit excited there. That's okay.
Yeah, I'm not sure whether Inter realised that Fubble had made the move. Inter takes that wide line into there and straightens the car up to get the run out of the Tosa hairpin.
Yeah.
And I don't think he saw Fubble, and then he's obviously turned in, and Fubble's been right where he wanted to point his car.
I don't think Fubble was probably expecting to go in so deep as well. I mean, that's probably a little bit uncharacteristic of what we've seen of him tonight, you know, keeping it clean. So, you know what, 5th position in an endurance race is a really, really good effort. So if you can hold that and maybe capitalise on someone else's mistakes, then happy days. Stu's still going around. He's got the headlights on, I think. It might be on driving lights, I'm not sure, but he'll be super happy with this position that he's been able to get away from cheese noodles. As I said at the start of the stream, he literally has left work. Shu manages a tennis club there in Wollongong, so he's basically sprinted home from work, probably given the family a quick kiss and g'day, how you going, and then jumped straight in the rig and started late with the qualifying. Got up into position 2 on the very last with seconds left in the qualifying into position 2, and has put the challenge to cheese noodles for where they are tonight. So actually cheese is just coming up behind. Who is? Oh, that's Dazza there. Yeah.
So Pat holding on to third at the moment. Inter's 8 seconds behind, but Inter, as we've seen, has been on a bit of a mission.
Well, there's still time, isn't there? Going on based on what you did last week.
See what kind of impression he can make.
He's got a new set of boots, newish sort of set of boots. So JJ says on the Lambo, Ferrari, Bentley and the McLaren for next season. Good luck with that. It's I have no doubts whichever car you get into, mate, you'll be at the pointy end anyway. So I guess it just depends on what team you end up in next season as well. So you might end up in Team BHR and be wrapped in green. So big shout out to our sponsors. So Packney and Next Level Racing, Selby Acoustic Racing, Gamesman Racing Team, and Ignition Controls Racing as well. So if you jump on the Rooz page there, we've definitely got links to our sponsors. You can buy the products. If you can't buy it directly, even Cheese's old man might even get interested and jump in the cockpit and come and join the veterans that we race around every second week. You're never too old, mate. You can absolutely jump in there and have a crack. So 6 minutes to go. I just want to, while I can, Jamie, I've got the opportunity, just want to do a shout out to Pesky. So I put the call out last week about a PS5 because you just literally cannot get one. And I'm in Melbourne, Pesky's in Adelaide, and he made contact with myself and said that he might be able to get one for me. And literally done all the legwork, and within about 4 days I had a PS5 at his house, packaged, ready to post tomorrow to my home here in Melbourne. So I wanted to say thank you so much, because Pesky's been involved with Race on Ice for a long time, and you know, the fact that he's done that, it just shows me how this community just is so close-knit and looks out for each other and just wants to make sure that we all, you know, continue to have fun and do the right thing. And so yeah, just blew me away that happened. I couldn't believe it.
Good on you, Pesky.
Have you upgraded to a PS5, mate?
Not yet. Maybe I should have a chat with Pesky.
Yeah, you should. I've been looking for a while now and you just can't get them. But they're in Adelaide for some reason.
A good place to be, Adelaide, at the moment.
Not in lockdown, I would say so,
unlike us.
I know.
So, we're talking about Inter in the gap to Pat. It was 8 seconds. It is now 5. He is mowing him down. But does he have enough minutes? There's 4.5 to go.
Well, Pat would be feeling a little bit of pressure, knowing quite well that he is catching. So, you know, there's an opportunity where Pat potentially could make a mistake. And so you mentioned about South Australia being in a good spot to be, same as Queensland as well, as indicated by JJ. So yeah, mate, 100% agree. Victoria and New South Wales right now, not so much, but you know what, we're all hanging in there, we're all looking out for each other as well, and we all need to stay safe. So if there's anywhere where you need to be in terms of a community, it's right here, right now, watching this race. We've got 3 minutes and 25 seconds to go. It's starting to heat up. We've got Inter absolutely catching Pat for podium finish. And yeah, jump on board.
She's just coming out of the last corner, which means we should see 2 laps after this.
Alright, well I'm going to say on Inter because he's down to 3.8 seconds right now. Yeah, it's probably... So Stu is just about, so he's crossed the line, so 2 laps from now, you think?
I think so, yeah. So he'll finish this lap with about a minute to go, a minute and a half to go, so yeah, then we'll have one more after that.
So 3.4 seconds, so there's still an opportunity. We just, if Pat makes a little mistake, hopefully he doesn't. Right now, we've got good position with Team BHR in position 1 and 3. Cheese Noodles with P&L, so he will absolutely be driving the points towards that team to a final result. So I have no doubts he would have wanted P1, but you know what? He's done a ripping job just to even get into P2.
So 45.5 for Pat and a 44.3 for Inter.
Okay, so it's on. 2.9. I'm nervous. I'm nervous just watching these guys.
So I'm just on board with Pat, and yeah, you can tell he just doesn't have the grip anymore.
Yeah, it's a 90 degrees.
Yeah, the tyre pressures, maybe he's seen the best of them.
I reckon you might be right, mate. So Stu's just started the final lap. Still going around. Looks absolutely solid. Brake discs are glowing. Cheese is just coming down onto the main straight. Shout out to the Cheese Noodle family. Thank you again for jumping on board and participating in the comments and the viewing of this as well. And to his Nana Pop, should be proud of him. He's done a stellar job tonight. It's gone a little bit deep over the ripple strips there. Two seconds to Pat now. So these guys have got one more lap after this, haven't they?
Yeah.
Yeah, okay, so this is the closest battle on track at the moment. Well, do you want to talk us through this, Jamie? I'm lost for words.
So, Inter breaking into the Tamburello, what's the time? Almost 1 second is the difference. Pat will just be holding on for dear life. Every turn he'll be counting them down, hoping to see the start-finish line.
Come on, Pat.
Stu is coming around the final turn.
Yeah, I'll just jump on board with Stu. Well done, Stu. An hour and a half. Emily's flashing the lights. Team BHR, well done. Nice work. And then Cheese is just coming down into Riviera. He made contact with me this afternoon and just wanted to make sure that we were doing the stream because he wanted his whole family to be watching, and they should be so proud of him. He's done such a bloody awesome job. This is such a good effort. Well done, Cheese. Big shout out to his family sitting there in their lounge rooms watching him. And Pat has got Inter right up his clacker, so this is to the last couple of corners.
So he might have a chance with traction if he can get close enough, but it's really about the braking here. He's very close.
Is he going to get the run on him, you reckon?
He's taken a lot of speed through there. This could be... Oh, he got a little bit squirrely coming out, and I think that's given Pat a bit of...
He's flashing the lights. Well done, Pat. Well done, Ita. Go right to the end.
Great finish.
Yeah, that's amazing. Fubble in position 5. Good on you, young fella. That's absolutely awesome effort. Look forward to seeing you next season as well, so good work. Jamie, so what do we got? Position 1 for Stu. Cheese noodles. Position 2. Oh, how good is that? Hey, have you got... do you want to send Stu another invite through the party chat?
Can do.
See if we can grab him. I'll just send him a message. But guys, thank you so much for being part of this race tonight. Round 9, final round at Imola. Race on Oz, AM1. These guys have done an absolutely magnificent job. It's been nothing but professional. Hardly any incidents whatsoever. Just amazing that they could do this. So
yep, great concentration levels from all of the guys. 90-minute race is tough under any circumstances, and lots of close racing, lots of clean battles, interesting strategy decisions, and ultimately Stu made it work.
He sure did. I've just sent Stu a message just to see if we can get him into the chat, but Stu, man. You there, Stu?
Hey boys, how you going?
Hey, how are you, buddy?
Hey, Stu.
What a ripping effort.
Yeah, no, it was a good race.
Yeah?
Rushed home from work. I was about 10 minutes late on thinking when Polly was going to start.
Yep.
So, sorry about not jumping in the chat with you before, but just thought I'd get cracking. It was a great lap by Noodles. I got 3/10 faster than what my PB was.
Yeah.
Go.
Well done to him. And then, last lap I managed to hook it up and in the front row, so yeah, it was good.
So what did you do different tonight? Like, what was the strategy with your pits? I know you've done a bit of practice through the fortnight, but was everything tonight exactly the same as what you've been practicing, or seeing that cheese noodles are up the front? Did you rethink your strategy?
I thought about it for about. I just thought I'll sit in behind him and see how long he goes, because I was pretty heavy on fuel. I had about 72 litres on the start, which I knew got me through to about 45 minutes or something like that, about halfway. And as soon as he peeled off, I was able to jump into the low 43s and just sit there. So if I had gone many more laps behind him, I probably would have come in and done the splash and dash. And then done the tyres. I was going to take tyres. Done the tyres sort of a little bit later. Yeah, no, he drove really well. So
yeah, sure.
I just thought I'll sit in behind him here and just see how long he goes without doing anything stupid.
Yep.
Both got the gap on the guys behind.
Hey, sorry to jump in there, Stu. Jamie, do you want to see if you can just jump into the party chat and grab Cheese Noodles, see if we can get him on board and get his input from the race?
Can do.
Yeah, well done tonight, Stu. That's a... Oh, mate, tell you what, though, for Jamie and myself to sit here and watch you guys, I was tempted to jump in the rig and just start playing with the steering wheel, mate. I was getting excited.
Yeah, no, it was a really good race. He drove really, really well.
Yeah, he did a good job.
And that's the thing I love about this game, is you don't know what the other guys are running in terms of strat. So I knew that if I stuck to my strat and nailed my last stop, in theory it was only 4 seconds. So when he went in early, I thought he was going to be taking either a lot of fuel or he was going to take fuel at his second stop. So
Yeah, sure.
just get down and bum up. So.
Here he is, the man of the moment, pole position, Cheese Noodles.
Hey.
How are you, buddy?
Oh, good. Could be a little better.
Yeah. Shame you didn't get the win, but geez, man, what an effort. So well done.
Yeah, cheers for that. Stu, you didn't take tyres, did you?
Yeah, I took tyres.
You did?
Yeah.
Oh, first stop. Oh, okay. I
Yeah,
thought
so-
there was something going on.
Yeah, I was heavy on fuel, bud, and then on the second stop I took tyres and then another 63 litres.
Yeah, I did 5 litres first, then 75 and tyres for my second.
Yeah, right. You
Yeah,
drove
that
really
was-
well in that first stint.
Yeah.
bud. It's good.
Yeah, you too. I was staring at you the whole bloody race and my mirror's going, "Ah, I can't get away from him." You were right there. It was good fun.
Hey, Cheese, we had your old man jump into the chat there a few times.
Oh, God, yeah.
No, nothing bad. He's look, you know what? At the end of the day, if I just hope that they've had a good time watching you guys race around, and top effort, mate, for getting pole position. That was a ripping time, and it was close to the top there, buddy. Like far out. Just watching you and Stu go for it there for the first, 15, 20, 30 minutes or whatever it was, just crazy. But yeah, well done, mate. Good effort.
Yeah, cheers for that. Yeah, it was pretty late notice. I only found out 2 days before. I've only done probably 6 hours of practice before. Just never driven the track before, but
Yep.
yeah.
Good
feels
work.
right. I like this track now.
Yeah, it's good, isn't it? Hey, we've got River on board too. So River's been commentating through the night, and mate, have you got anything that you want to ask Stu or Cheese?
Yeah, Cheese, I was really interested. So you took your first pit stop quite early. How were your concentration levels? What was going through your mind as Stu was in your mirrors?
I was just sticking to my strategy. I was just thinking, I knew I was going to pit in the first 10, 15. If I got out in the lead, I was going to push it a little bit more, so I went 15 instead of 10. Then I was like, no, better commit to the strategy. I've already got it come in. And then I was thinking, I don't need that pressure, so I came back out in clean air for basically the whole race. I barely saw anybody. And I imagine the same thing happened to Stu, and that's why he pulled away.
Yeah, pretty much. As soon as you pitted, I just had to clear air for the next, well, pretty much all the way through to the stop. So yeah, it was good. I was able to jump straight down into the low 43s and just sit there.
Yeah, I was mid 43s, 44s.
43, sorry, yeah.
Ah,
great.
Yeah, it's good. I think.
So Cheese, are you going to come back again for season 5? Will you be back on board?
Oh yeah, I was just taking a season off. I'm just reserve driver at this point, just filling in when people can't race. I'll be back next season for a full one.
I'm glad to hear that, mate. Well done.
And Stu, I assume you'll be back.
I think so.
You've been bitten, mate. That's it.
Oh yeah. I've set up the PK2 league and done that as well, and jump in this when I can again.
Yeah.
I really enjoyed it, so thanks boys. Great job commentating. It certainly adds an extra dimension to all the stuff that we do on the league. The BT Sport guys started it, and we did a little bit of it in Project Players, and they've been able to do it in this. It's been great for the league and the exposure and all the sponsors and all that sort of stuff. So good
No,
job.
I appreciate that, Stu. Yeah, so that for anyone that's listening or watches this afterwards, but definitely jump on the Adman Racing, Adman 72 Racing, and the stream will be on there as well. So yeah, can't say enough, mate, that with this particular game and seeing the way that you guys performed tonight with strategies and lines and everything, it's just absolutely nuts how it all plays out. So I was nervous last week racing in the Pro League, but I was probably more nervous tonight watching you guys race, and not quite sure where everyone was going to come out after the pit stops. But yeah, it was fantastic to watch. So I really appreciate that. and appreciate the fact that you've been able to jump on tonight and just give us a little bit of an insight in terms of post-race stuff. So thank you so much for that too, to both of you guys.
No worries, boys.
No worries at all.
Alrighty.
See you nights.
No worries at all. Thank you very much.
Thanks, lads. Cheers.
So, Jamie, mate, well done. That is a wrap. Man, what a night.
What a night, what a round, what a season. It's been awesome. It's gone quickly, but it also feels like it's stretched out a bit as well. But I think, we've had, Stu obviously took victory tonight, but we've had, first-time winners, surprise winners all throughout the season in all the divisions. It's been great to watch, great to be a part of, and can't wait to go around again.
Absolutely, mate. I'm itching, so not sure what car I'm going to drive yet, but I'm not going to give that away. But yeah, and you know what? To be honest, thank you so much too, mate. Like just for jumping in this time and the last time as well, at little notice, like for the first time. So it's been great, and love your input with it as well. So thank you so much for being part of this stream.
Thank you for having me, and I thought you were doing a great job when you were handling it solo for those first couple of weeks, but glad I can help out, add a bit of a different dimension, help you get through an hour or an hour and a half without give you a breath.
Yeah, I appreciate that. All right, to the streamers, thank you guys, thank you for your support, thank you for the comments and the views. So really glad that you're able to jump on. So have a lovely night, have a safe week, and we'll look forward to catching up with you guys next time. Thank you.